AgweekTV weather is brought to you by Kaler Farms.
Taking a look at the weather portion of Ag Week now, a couple of things ongoing. One is that it looks like warmer weather will again be returning to the plains and Midwest. Not talking high heat, not talking a lot of 100-degree weather, but warmer definitely in late September. Also, a return to rainier weather for the northern plains and parts of the upper Midwest appears likely, and a first significant snowfall. I mean significant snowfall, but just out in the mountains, mostly out in Montana, Wyoming. Here's what's going on. Jet stream pattern this week showing warmer weather returning as the primary jet carves out a pretty deep trough along the west coast. That's going to pull pretty cold air into the northern Rockies and allow warm air to come northward. As I said, most of this 70s and 80s in the upper Midwest Corn Belt areas, 80s and 90s down south. Not a lot of 100-degree weather, but it'll be above average. And this will be cold enough for snow in the higher elevations, some 40-degree type weather getting out into Montana. But I do expect some significant snow out in western and central parts of Montana. The contrast between the cold and the warm and the fast jet stream in between suggests a pretty good possibility for a few rain systems moving maybe a little further north, this time up into some parts of the northern plains. Hopefully they won't be too heavy, but I do see some subtropical moisture and then a weather pattern setting up to bring some rain across the north. The tropical activity will likely keep the southern areas quite wet over the next week. The northern plains rain, I don't expect this to be incredibly wet overall, but there may be a few spots to get a couple of inches of rain. A lot of this is just wetter than we'd want. Snow will mostly be confined to the mountains. The thing about the rain this time of the year is it doesn't have to be 5 inches of rain to cause problems because evaporation rates go way down when we get near the equinox. And so the deal is it rains a little bit less, but it evaporates a little bit less too, so it takes less rain to make things wet. That's a concern this coming week. Moving into next week, now we're talking the last week of October. I think the west will begin to dry out. Primarily dry weather in the western United States. The heavy rain area, northern plains will shift into the Great Lakes, I believe, and the rainy weather in the deep south will mostly go to the eastern seaboard. In the middle, I think it could go either way, either be mostly dry, mostly wet, or about average. I don't really see anything to focus anything there. This is an interesting addition to the winter pattern as well, the fall and winter. Been talking about El Nino turning into La Nina. This is warmer than average sea surface temperatures in red, cooler than average in blue. Well, I'll play the movie again. The El Nino was ongoing all through the summertime, but as we head into the fall, it was turning blue, indicating the presence of La Nina. Look at the last frame, though. It's weakening. It looks like the winter may be neutral, not a La Nina, which means for temperatures, not a good indicator. For snowfall this winter, not a good indicator. Without El Nino or La Nina, hard to forecast.